Hello, 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 and welcome. We are now got a video on the handler. Probably one of the classes I'm sort of excited for, actually. I don't know if I'll like it too much, but as a secondary class, I think I will very much enjoy it. So let's go into it real quick. First off, we have the traits and the archetypes and the perks of the handler. So first off, we're going to go with the prime perk, which is when the handler is down, companion, the dog, will attempt to revive them at 50% max health. Can be used to revive allies with command. Downed allies must be have a dragon heart. And the cooldown is 90 seconds. This is pretty good, especially when if you're up and your allies down to revive them. I've been recently playing with a friend and the first Remnant, and our biggest problem is getting each other up during boss fights. Like we get zero downtime for getting people up. But here, this is just a natural thing that you can have your companion go off and do, or with one of the abilities that you have, you can go and have them go and do that. I say this is a very good prime perk. This archetype, I would say, though, is more on the secondary side than it is on the primary side. But who knows what extras we get with this being primary and the something else being secondary, though. Kinship, though, is our trait. It reduces friendly fire damage dealt and received by 80% at max level. It starts from 15% and it goes all the way to 80%. So, a pretty good trait. I would say, though,
It also allows players who play fast and loose with deadly explosives a bit more leeway.
they make a little joke, as you saw. It's just a funny thing that explosives around, but I still wouldn't think of using it because of the stagger you give your allies, as was shown inside of the joke. Let's go on to the damaging perk. Pack Hunter. Gain 30% range and skill damage and 5% range and skill critical chance while companion is active and within 25 meters of player. Now, this is really good. But I have one thing. What does it mean companion is active? Is it mean that the companion's moving around, doing stuff, you haven't given an order sort of thing? Or do you have to give an order and it be attacking something for it to be considered active? I'm going to go on the benefit of the doubt since the dog does have a down state, which we will get to when in the dog section. So I'm going to guess that it being up and about and not downed is considered active. So, in all honesty, this is a really good ability. This is the first perk you get. It's so good. Just off the bat, really good. Better than most of the stuff we've seen so far, which is the Gunslinger and the Bruiser class. The Bruiser is decent, but this is just so good because range and skill damage, top tier, and 5% extra chance while active. That's just real good. And the damage increases when handler's level increases. Sorry, I said hunter there. I meant handler. Next, we got Spear of the Wolf, which is our team perk. Increases movement speed by 10%. All allies within 10 meters get the handler's movement speed. I will say to the devs, change the wording of all allies within 10 meters equal the handler's movement speed, if faster. Actually, it should say all allies within 10 meters gain the handler's movement speed, if faster. Just remove equal, place gain. Because equal makes it sound weird. Reduces the stamina costs of all actions for all allies by 50%. I'm not sure. I think this also applies to you. You get the minus 50% also. But either way, this is actually a pretty good team perk, if I'm going to say. It's a little on the weak side, I would say, because of that 10-meter space. Um, but I would say that should be extended to maybe 25 meters also, same as Pack Hunter, only because I think 10 meters is a little too short. You don't want to be running by an ally in some of these arenas, and then they all suddenly gain a boost of speed and miscalculates and all that. So I say this team perk is good, but also at the same time, not good. Because instant speed boosts, not a fun time when you're not expecting it. I've rated in Final Fantasy 14, and we've gotten the Scholar's speed boost, and it has been a startling time when that happens. We do not expect it. It's not a fun time because we overstep and we get hit by an attack because we overstepped, or we run into the wall because we have the speed boost. Not knowing it happening is a problem, but it gets canceled out if people are faster because of they got already like 11% movement speed because of something. So if you're this class, you get the movement speed perk, or I should say trait. Do not put points into it because the team perk is already boosting everyone, and you don't want your speed faster than your teammates because they might just go a little too fast. Anyways, next one, teamwork, the utility perk. Handler and companion gain 30% increase revive speed while reviving a handler, and companion receive 25% less damage, and the companion gains -1 stagger. I say this is pretty good considering you can order your dog to go and revive people. And this class again goes into the thing where they feel like more of the support class and reviving people. They have a dog there to make up for the damage that they don't have with these other perks. I It's pretty good. I would say it's nice. I wouldn't be surprised if they took out the co-op traits that were in one, where they just gave you increased speed, take less damage while reviving people, and a bunch of other stuff. Like, I don't see. I mean, the damage received and dealt reduces. That's the suspicious trait, and it's being rolled into one called kinship. I wouldn't be surprised if they just took those traits out, since we have a kinship trait and this teamwork utility perk. Now we're going to go to the last one, relic perk. This is probably one of the relic perks that I'm like, makes sense and is really good. Like, in my opinion, this is like one of the best relic perks so far we've seen. It is using relic perk fully restores companion health and grants them 25% damage and 35 damage resistance for 15 seconds. That's really good. Healing yourself and your little dog, that's freaking good, and in giving them a damage boost and damage resistance. Now we're going to go into the skills, which make that relic perk shine better compared to the gunslinger and the bruiser guy. We are now on the skills for the handler. Now, as said before by the narrator, it is more like stances for your dog rather than it is actual skills you use. So let's go over what guard dog is. This is your more defensive choice. Your dog will gain 15% increased threats, and all damage done to them is reduced by 20%. Good to know. This will stack on top of what that heart will do, so they'll get like a 55% reduction in damage, which is super good. Super good, in my opinion, in all things considered. Now, single press has some engaged enemies near the target location. This is going to be typical. Double tap is to return to you, which makes sense. Hold is it howls and reduces the damage by 15% to all allies within 20 meters, and the companion generates additional threat lasts 20 seconds. A howl will have a 90-second cooldown, so that's good to know. But that's 20 of that seconds will be the howls activated, so you will have 70 seconds for it to be refreshed. So if there's a way to reduce the cooldowns of skills, frick, this would be freaking awesome. Because or extends the skill duration or somehow, that would be freaking good. All right, the next skill, it is support dog. Support dog is your healing dog or your beneficial thing. So dog companion will follow the player. The companion continuously heals allies within 3.5 meters for 0.25% of max HP per second. This skill is already pretty freaking good. Having a passive heal is freaking nice. Though it is a short range, but makes sense because it's a free thing. Single press, companion engages near target location, double tap returns. Typical thing. The howl, though, it gives you 2% of your max HP per second and 25% increase in movement speed to all allies within 20 meters. Lasts 25 seconds, and the cooldown is 90 seconds. Compared to the last one we had, which was 90 seconds of a cooldown, or I should say, compared to the last one we had, which was 20 seconds it lasted for that damage reduction. This lasts for 25 seconds. That's 5 more seconds, which means 65 seconds, you're going to have to wait until you can use it again. But that is a passive regen. That is pretty good. I would say support dog is probably a really good thing. But we go on to the last one, which I would say is another contender for skills. And that is the attack dog. Now, I'm pretty sure most people are going to be using attack dog or support dog, depending on what their playstyles are. Attack dog is 20% extra damage, along with the relic perk. That is 45% extra damage on the dog. That's pretty good. And typical single press, double tap is exactly the same. But the howl this time increases damage by allies for 20% within 20 meters. Last 20 seconds. Now, if you don't know Remnant too well, Remnant has an interesting thing with like how damage modifiers stack sometimes. Sometimes they compound on each other. So like 20% and 20% stacked on top of each other to make 40%. But in other times, it goes like there's a 20%, so then it's 120. Say you deal 100 damage, it'll be 120 damage, and then you stack 20% on top of that, so then it becomes 144 damage. So there is some fun things. It depends on what slot it gets placed into and whether or not they change that for Remnant 2 compared to Remnant from the Ashes, where if you had all of your trinkets, you added them together into 1%, and then you then times your damage by that. But the armor's counted as a separate value, and other buffs acted as a separate value, and so you compound them onto each other. Which, if that is included for the attack dog, that's pretty good. And if the attack dog's counted into the howls, which I think they are shown in the video that they do, that means if you do the relic with the attack dog, you effectively given the dog at least 75% extra damage. That dog is dealing damage. Now, we have talked about the skills and the stances for the dog, but now let's talk about how the dog works itself.
As a bonus, when the companion is near the handler, they automatically heal over time. The speed of the heal can be greatly increased by showing your friend some love. Good boy. Companion can never truly die. If overwhelmed in combat, they'll lay down to rest until the handler has a chance to encourage them back on their feet. Come on, buddy.
So I like to thank the narrator to play more simply than I could, basically, and give us a visual aid on this. But basically, the dog is free. It's a free ally. And you're basically playing co-op. Now, we are going to be talking about like what I think you should use this archetype for. I In my opinion, this archetype, for the most part, is a secondary archetype, not a primary archetype. It will be a primary archetype depending on what the meta class brings. But even then, if you want to really go for the support role, I think the medic archetype would be primary, while this is a secondary. But I can definitely see someone using this archetype as a primary. And if you're going to use it as a primary, I think you're going to use support dog. And if you're using it as a secondary, you're using attack dog. In my opinion, that I think that's where you should place it, or defensive dog. The order of the skills is, my opinion, support and attack dog are top, while defensive dog isn't that great. But then again, that aggro taking might be really good. I don't know. I feel like I want my dog to attack more and deal more damage rather than not taking more damage, because Remnant kind of has a fun thing with pet classes, or summon classes as they call them in Remnant from the Ashes, and that is where they just allow your summons to die. You get them back really fast and you allow them to die and they explode and deal lots of damage. You want them just to completely just explode and deal a lot of damage while you summon more. But this dog is playing a little bit different because it's always going to be up. You don't really summon him. You have to res him. I would say attack dog or support dog will be best because they heal while being near you. Support dog will heal probably itself while it's near itself. And yeah, that's pretty much it for this. Now we get a look at one thing, the Nightweaver. Now, the Nightweaver was an enemy that was shown off to us a little bit. I thought it was going to be like a basic enemy, but it looks like it's a boss. So we have another boss that look at from the other worlds. And this guy's freaking weird. He crawls on the ground and he's going to come for that booty. I find it funny. Anyways, I'm excited to see the handler come out. I want to see more. I constantly just want to see more of this. I haven't done many videos on their like little narrative drops and showing off worlds and showing off enemies because it's just not enough. They just have it, they just trickling it. And this is like a big thing to talk about. Some of the stuff we've talked about in previous videos that like, oh, this is how this works, this is how that works, blah, 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 blah. I'm glad I was right about a few things. And I just want more. I want to look. I believe one of the branches from the cultists from Remnant 1. We've gotten one from the gunslinger from Remnant from the Ashes. And the bruiser we got a peek at, which bruiser doesn't look that interesting in all honesty. And yeah, I'm excited. I'm really excited. I'm still excited. I want to see the other two classes, the sniper and the medic, very much. So I'll catch you guys next time. See you.